Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Elon Musk is a great illusionist. He's performing what is known as misdirection, making the competition think that Tesla is an EV company. Tesla really don't care too much about any of the competition or other EVs. It's not really Tesla's business model. In fact, I do believe Elon truly wants more EVs out there and welcomes them. I mean, the auto industry is so big, and Tesla and EVs in general have such a small part of it, there's no point in them trying to compete over the crumbs when there's a huge internal combustion pie to eat. That is why Tesla open up all their patents for anyone to use, including other auto manufacturers or tech companies. The patents are for the world. Tesla's objective is to transition the world to sustainable energy as fast as possible. So if Tesla kept any breakthroughs to themselves, then it would stifle the competition, which would be a contradiction to their mission. On a side note, personally I'm not a fan of patents. I used to think they were something that were required for people to hold their intellectual value and justify the amount spent on R&D, but a brand itself should do that. It holds progress and inventions, as they are subjected to patents from corporations. My view of capitalism is to improve the standard of living of the people as much as possible in a democratic way. You vote with your dollars. Imagine if any inventor or engineer can take products and simply improve and evolve them for the better, rather than stumble upon some patent infringement. This is just another reason to love Tesla, and why they're not like traditional corporations. The irony is, they will likely be the largest corporation in history. So Tesla being in the EV industry is just a distraction that all the competitors seem to follow. In the meantime, Tesla are trying to sell as many EVs as they can, while the competitors are still trying to catch up, making enough money to grow as fast as physically as possible. Their profit margins are so high, they don't need to borrow money or issue any more shares. They have so much cash flow that they can fund the growth they need with that, and actually still create net profits at the end of each quarter too. The more they grow, the more this cash flow increases, for when it's needed. Not to mention the around $20 billion of cash and Bitcoin on hand if necessary, which is ample to get Tesla through any major economic downturn, of which I can't say the same for the other auto manufacturers. No, if we see a major recession, I think it will actually finish off a lot of the legacy automakers, and this time around, there isn't going to be enough money to bail them out, because it's already been used in supporting the economy through COVID. So what does that mean? Well, there will be less car companies, so Tesla will have less competition in that regard. In addition to that, more people might start realizing that even a Tesla Model 3 has a cheaper cost of ownership than a Toyota Corolla, especially now the Model 3 Standard Range Plus is only $36,990, and an average sale price for a car in the US is $40,000, and the price will continue to come down as Tesla becomes more efficient at producing them. Also, when you factor in savings and perhaps Biden's new tax credit, the car will be somewhere in the 20,000s, which is unbelievable value. And yet to still make a good profit on each car sold is truly amazing. I mean, when Tesla were having all their issues with production hell, I really didn't think they'd be able to get their cars down to this price. With this high specification and still such an incredible margin, they've blown me away. And in a couple more years' time, I'm sure I will be equally stunned by some other impressive advancement, or probably sometime this year as well, knowing Tesla. It's really as if they make enough profits they need from every car that they simply pass the savings on to the consumers. But really, Tesla just want to sell as many cars as they can, get as many cars on the road as possible, and really aren't fazed by the media reporting that Tesla have a demand issue, so they're dropping prices again. Seriously, if you can get a brand new Model 3 under $30,000, do you think there's a demand issue? The constraint is batteries. Hence, Elon openly telling all battery manufacturers to make more batteries, and Tesla will buy everything you can make, in addition to making batteries in-house too. Tesla could be building more factories to make more cars, but there's no point if they don't have enough batteries. So they start making their own batteries too. They do amazing R&D and get batteries that are good enough to get us to the next stage. Rather than waiting an extra 5 years for solid state or graphene, they needed batteries now. Tesla need to make sure they have enough raw materials for the batteries, so they start mining lithium and try to secure as much nickel as possible too. Why? Why did Tesla do all this? Why not simply charge more for their cars and not let the competition use their patents? Because Tesla are not an EV company. And no, this time I'm not trying to be smart saying they actually make computers on wheels or they're a digital car. Tesla is a robotaxi company. That's the objective of these cars. Get as many out as quickly as possible. As long as Tesla have enough working capital and make enough profit to grow, they don't need to charge any more for their cars than they do. This could be why they keep dropping the price, because these profits are dwarfed by robotaxis. The thing is, you can't just start a robotaxi company overnight. It requires infrastructure, and logistics are involved. Technological levels need to be reached. Data needs to be accumulated. Fleets need to be developed. Regulations need to change. These are all things Tesla is doing as fast as possible. If the likes of Audi or Volkswagen launch a new EV, it doesn't take from Tesla's sales. It takes a bite out of Audi or Volkswagen sales. They're cannibalizing their own products. And when they do this, they likely sell these cars at a loss and then don't make money on the servicing or parts. They can't win. It's against their business model. It's known as being caught between a rock and a hard place. As soon as Tesla have their FSD ready and regulation has been passed, there'll be as many cars as possible already on the road. Tesla already have their own fleet, however they're currently being leased out to customers. Once these leases are finished, a lot of people's beliefs are that Tesla will use these as part of their fleet. I believe if this is the case, they can use them to start in a city. I'm not sure what cities they may begin, but quite possibly San Francisco, or maybe Austin. But let's take San Francisco as an example. Currently, there are about 50,000 Uber drivers in San Francisco. Of these, the majority live outside of the Bay Area. Obviously, an Uber salary is not enough income to live within the city, so they're commuting from the likes of Sacramento or Modesto, which is an hour-and-a-half drive there and back, or 3 hours total a day. And sure, they might be taking passengers with them too, but still, that's 3 hours a day they're not in the city. Plus the drivers need breaks and sleep. But it's really about supply and demand. Being there when the demand is greatest, during rush hours, is the critical part, which I'm sure most Uber drivers are there for. But anyway, say if there were 50,000 robotaxis available in San Francisco, I would say it very likely there possibly could be if you added Tesla's leased fleet, and we're probably talking about 2 more years away anyway, i.e. 2 more years of sales, and California being where the most Teslas are sold per capita anyway, I think there'll be ample supply to cover the demand in robotaxis. In addition to that, there are also a lot of charging stations in California too. And then eventually, after enough owners see the profits and income they can make, more owners will join the fleet. Eventually enough that Tesla can send their own fleet to Los Angeles and do the same there. Rinse and repeat for every city they want to start robotaxis. Or perhaps there'll be enough supply from the owners in many cities anyway that Tesla won't need to top them up with their own. A lot of people are under the assumption that Tesla will simply stop selling cars to the public and only focus on using them in their robotaxi network. And I can understand why they might want to do that. Obviously not to share the profits with the owners. But is that part of Tesla's ethos? It genuinely appears they're dropping the prices of their cars for consumers. And given that Elon has promised various incomes you can make from your Tesla joining the robotaxi network, do you think it likely Tesla renege on that promise? I would say it would impact the Tesla brand negatively if that was the case. Besides, Tesla would already be profiting far more from any other company in the world by robotaxis. In addition to that, do Tesla really want to focus on the car grooming business? Don't they have bigger fish to fry? Yet all the competition are focused on is just trying to make an EV and use Tesla as their benchmark. Volkswagen and their Mission T to literally just try and catch up to Tesla. NIO in their presentation of their ES8 just compares themselves with how much better on paper they are than Tesla. Tesla's neural network is the most powerful AI computer in the world by an order of magnitude, and this too will help the robotaxi network in logistics and ride-sharing, getting passengers to destinations as best possible. The competition are simply not going to be able to compete with this in any way. Yes, there is the energy side of things too, and eventually their battery production will catch up, but they know the real money is in robotaxis, so that's what they're focusing on now. Also, I believe the boring company is a huge part of this too. Imagine if robotaxis can get their passengers to their destinations quicker by simply going across town in a tunnel at 150 miles an hour. It would simply mean the taxis are ready to pick up another passenger that much sooner. It ends up making the boring tunnels that much more valuable to Tesla. So don't be deterred by Tesla dropping their prices and reducing their already impressive margins. They're just trying to become an affordable car for the masses, and will do so even more with their Model 2. And don't worry about them not making any high profits for the time being. It's all part and parcel of the robotaxi mission. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.